Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to a surprise episode of In Depth with David. It has been months and months since I've recorded on this channel. Went back to school. Also, Brian did as well, so we were just stuck with the grinds. But we figured right before the Bruins break ends, why don't we recap how the season has gone up until this point? So once again, I'm joined by the expert of the Bruins
Okay.
on this channel, Brian. Brian, how are you doing today?
Doing well. Solid vacation up until this point. Haven't done too much, but been no hockey to watch, which is a negative. But it's coming back tomorrow, so or at least the Bruins are back tomorrow.
And that's the weird thing is that we haven't played hockey. The Bruins haven't played hockey in over 2 weeks, but we've only missed like 5, 6 games in that time. Like it feels like it'd be way more, but it's gonna stink when we have to make that up in February. But
Yeah, our schedule. We talked about it before. Our schedule at the beginning of the year was already so spaced out, and so that means at the end of the year, our games are all going to be crammed together, and then this break doesn't help that. It's just going to be even more compacted.
30 games in the last 60 days between March and April already. And now that there's no 3 week layoff in February, I would say we're probably playing almost pretty much half of our season in the last 3 months.
That's all.
So
That's not. Oh, God, that's like down the stretch. I mean, you get tired. Teams are already going to be tired that don't have to deal with this crammed schedule. So it's a tough part of the. You'd probably rather start with that than finish with that because it's you already grinded out so many games up until that point, and they just keep coming like every 2 nights.
do you know how they make the schedule in hockey? Because I'm not familiar with it, but is it just kind of like random? Because like, did like Don Sweeney like punch someone in like the NHL front office? Like, did he hurt them? Like, what is the schedule?
I don't know what we did to deserve that schedule. I don't know. No clue. Don't know how it's made.
Because we started, I remember at the beginning of the year, everyone's opening night was on like the Sunday or that Monday. Ours was on like that Thursday or Friday. Then we play a couple more games. Then for whatever reason, we just had 5 straight games off or 5 straight days off.
I feel like we did that multiple times with those like 5 day breaks too. I don't think it was just one. I mean, they just kept coming, and it's tough because it's the beginning of the season. You got new teammates trying to develop some chemistry, get things clicking, and like those big breaks kind of mess that up.
And it's like more as teams were getting ready to play games and acclimate themselves into the grind of the season. And they were saying this on Boston Sports Radio. It's like the Bruins have been practicing more than they've been playing games, and it essentially feels like that still with this huge layoff. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, we knew coming in it was going to be tough with a backloaded schedule. This squad is only getting a year older. It's looking like the end is near, but you never know in hockey. That's what I like about hockey. I think we've talked about this in prior podcasts where hockey is probably the most unpredictable of all the sports when it comes to playoffs. So anything can really happen. And we've seen the Bruins in the last decade pull a few rabbits out of their hats.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just those. It's tough dealing with those breaks, and the goalies. It's tough to get in rhythm when you have so many breaks and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we can pull it together here. We still got a talented team, we can. Yeah, like you said in hockey, it's pretty. There's a lot of parity and randomness. So I think I wouldn't rule it out to see the Bruins go on like 5 game run or something like that, and just. But it's consistency. We got to be consistent.
So I want to get into our takeaways on how the season has gone because, as all my viewers know, as you guys know, like I watch the Bruins when I can, but I'm like a casual fan. I hate to say it as much as I love the team. Like I know pasta's on the menu, burgers are on the side. You want that, but I want your takeaways on how the Bruins season has gone so far. I'll just quickly say mine. I'm not really surprised with how anything has gone this season for the Bruins. For anyone watching or anyone who doesn't know, Bruins up until this point have played 26 games. They're 14-10-2, but that doesn't really shock me because it seems like this team is still facing the same problems where no one outside of the first line can score. And that's only become more and more of a problem when 2 of the 3 people on your first line are just getting older. So nothing surprises me when you try and address those problems and nothing gives. And it's just the same old story every year and people are just getting older.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. We didn't. didn't know how much we were gonna miss Krejci till he was gone. I mean, Hoyle's been pretty good on second line center, but I mean, Hall hasn't had the production that he had with Krejci, and that's pretty apparent. Coyle's been good, but I think Coyle plays more with the puck than like a playmaker role like Krejci, where Krejci's better when he's like finding his teammates and whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's just so far. Yeah, like you said, the depth scoring, not great. I think recently it maybe got a little better, but I think also our first line recently hasn't been as good. So it's a trade off or what. And then the first line, the two older guys, I'd say, they've been the best two on that line. Pasta's kind of you expect him to be at the top of the league in goal scoring. He's nowhere close, and I don't know. I just would expect more from him, honestly. But Bergeron and Marchand, they've been Marchand in particular. He's been great, but yeah, Pasternak, I think he needs to step it up a little.
Yes, so Pasternak has 8 goals, 13 assists, and so 21 points on the year. Nothing awful, but
No,
like
like
you said, I would expect more goals than assists or
yeah,
a higher goal total.
the totals obviously they're like you can't really complain, but just from what we've seen from him, there's more there. Like especially who he's playing with, you just expect him to be near the top of the league in goals, and he is not.
And Marchand has 27 points on the year. He's been excellent. Once again, 11 goals, 16 assists. He did have that suspension. We thought he was just going to keep being, nice Brad. He had gone like 4 years, I think, without a suspension. And, you can never really escape your past or your reputation in hockey.
No, Jack Edwards wasn't a fan of the suspension, of course.
Oh, really? I'm shocked. um, Bergeron, 23 points, 10 goals, 13 assists. You can't say enough about this guy. The
No,
quietest, but yet most dominant superstar in Boston in the last 20 years. I will say that until the end of time.
just super consistent and yeah, quiet, like you said. And it's cool. Like every year the NHL releases their like top 10 like most sold jerseys of the year, and Bergeron seems to always be on it. So not someone you'd expect, but I think a lot of that has to do with I think even fans outside of Boston like have respect for him and they like him too. So I think they won't they won't pass over his jersey when they're looking for ones to buy, which is cool. I think he's just a really well respected player. And yeah.
It it should be, and I know this isn't really Bruins, but it really should be. When Tom Brady left, everyone's like, looks like it might be Mookie Betts on the Red Sox city. Obviously, he got traded, a little, or sorry, Mookie Betts got traded after Tom Brady left. What am I saying? But when Tom Brady left, they were saying it should be like Xander Bogart City, Jason Tatum City. Everyone keeps saying it's Jason Tatum City now. It's Bergeron's. Come on. Like, I get it, Boston's not a quote unquote hockey city, which I don't know if I agree with that necessarily, but it's Bergeron City. He's done so much that so many people in this city don't appreciate because it's all about the Red Sox and the Patriots carrying title town. But Bergeron is the reason why the Bruins have been the most consistent of the four and always making the playoffs every year, give or take like 2 seasons
Yeah.
5-6 years ago.
It's the way he does it too. It's quietly, and he never
Self
really.
trophy.
Yeah, Selke. He takes care of the puck on both ends of the ice. He's fantastic, and he just not slowing. Well, yeah, he just seems to like keep getting better. His point totals just go up after each year somehow. But yeah, so and also at the beginning of the year, he was off to a really slow start, and people, in particular, on the Boston sports radio, people were saying he was done. And I remember that same night is when he scored those 4 goals. Like I can recall that. So, you know, they were like, I don't remember. Like I read it on Twitter. It was like just people on the radio, whatever, questioning his heart and if he still wanted it. Then he put up 4 goals that night.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, I listen to the Boston sports radio too. I mean, it's great. I mean, those people, they know what they're talking about, but they also know what they're doing in the sense that they say things just to rattle people up, and it's just so stupid. Like, Bergeron losing heart. Come on.
No,
But
that's the last guy who like I don't know. You could question maybe that he's like declining physically or whatever just from old age, but you could never question his heart. I don't know. Like
so moving on to the second line, and we kind of talked about this already, but it's been a little bit of a disappointment. Obviously, David Krejci is no longer part of the second line as he departed in the offseason. Were you shocked by that?
not. I mean, there is rumors for a while, so I mean, I was, I guess, kind of because he had such a great last like third of the season, him and Hall was awesome. Like we actually had two lines that were putting up points. Like it was awesome, and I thought maybe that would help convince him to stay, but it didn't. And then yeah, I thought maybe Hall too. Hall was a free agent too, I want to say, and I thought
Yep.
maybe since Krejci left, he might not stay, but he did. So I guess that's good. But yeah, it's too bad. I guess I was a little surprised, but I did hear rumors, so I wasn't completely shocked.
And going back to what you just said about how we finally had two lines that scored, as frustrating as it was with how the season ended last year, losing to the Islanders in six in a series that we probably could have won, it was at least optimistic thinking that if we can just bring Hall back, we can still have two lines that score. And yeah, the Krejci domino fell, and it's like, well, this is really sad, kind of shocking, but Coyle, he's more than ready to step up for the second line, but just the production hasn't been there. I mean, Taylor Hall, he's played all 26 games. He only has 5 goals, 9 assists for 14 points. Coyle, 7 goals, 7 assists, also 14 points, but both Coyle and Hall have a -3. And then Craig Smith's played fewer games, 19, but he only has 2 goals and 5 assists.
Yeah, I don't know. Craig Smith kind of bounces around too. That second line, I don't know. Sometimes it mixes up, but I think Craig, like recently, I think like that line is back together more. Like, but they were bouncing around because of injuries and stuff. But yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, Hall is a former MVP. I mean, you would just expect someone like that to be able to put up points really, no matter who he's playing with. Like, I don't know who he was playing with on New Jersey exactly when he got the MVP, but I feel like it couldn't have been anyone that fantastic. I don't know. It's too bad, but
So
I
you
don't know.
go.
Maybe he could. You can't rule it out. He could go on a run. He's obviously a really talented player. So
And isn't that what happened last year when we traded for him from Buffalo? He had like 2 goals the whole season, and then we traded for him, and then like maybe he was just motivated to try more now that he was out of Buffalo. But he went on a run there, and he was a big reason why we did really well after the deadline last season.
yeah, I mean, I want to say him. He was at like a point per game. He had a lot of goals. Like, it was so nice. And then Krejci left. His production. I don't know. We saw the same thing. DeBrusque played with Krejci. Krejci is so underrated. He's just able to bring like all the players around him up, and he's quiet about it too. You don't necessarily say like, oh my, like Krejci is just like fantastic, like an amazing player, but he was great, and he just was under the radar. He helps everyone he plays with. He played with Lucic. Lucic put up big numbers. He played with DeBrusque. DeBrusque had a big season, and we saw it with Hall last year. Just it's a guy that we are really missing, even though I think a lot of people maybe thought we wouldn't as much as we are.
So Charlie McAvoy, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I've been seeing the narrative that he has been a pleasant surprise this season. He's having a great season. 4 goals, 11 assists, 15 points for a defenseman at +3. Would you agree with that?
100%. He's engaged. He makes. He gets a little risky sometimes. He'll turn it over, a little risky play, but we'll take it because he's very good offensively and responsible defensively for the most part. I Yeah, I think he's been a pleasant surprise. I want to say I don't think he scores many goals in general, like from season to season, but I think four through this many games is pretty good for him. And yeah, he's been very productive. So he's definitely been a pleasant piece to the team this season.
And I'm glad that a couple months ago we locked him up to an 8-year, $76 million extension. I don't know where that slots him in, like cap wise, but it's good just to pay your young players to keep them
Yeah,
because once this core, has its turnover, the remaining pieces are going to be Pasternak, Swayman, Carlo, and McAvoy. So keep them if you can.
yeah. It's a huge contract, but like comparable players like Kel McCarr, Adam Fox, they were all get paid similarly, so they kind of drove the market up for young defensemen. And I mean, we could not let McAvoy walk. So
So I'm looking at an article right now on Boston.com. It's by Tim Rosenthal, and it has 4 storylines to watch for the Bruins after the COVID-19 pause is over, starting tomorrow. So we're just going to go through these 4, I figured. The first one it talks about, and this is one that I definitely wanted to get to, is the return of Tuukka Rask. So rumors are heating up about this happening in the last week. I've seen plenty of posts all over social media saying that the Bruins and Tuukka Rask are nearing an agreement and he will rejoin the team pretty soon. How do you think he's going to factor into the whole goaltending situation? I'm assuming he's ready. I know he had offseason hip surgery. Um, wasn't the greatest end of the season for him, but there was really nothing he could do. He could barely walk at one point last season, and he couldn't do anything about the puck being right in front of him. That was a guaranteed goal. I love Tuca, but he could
Yeah.
just barely move, and that's how the Islanders beat us in that series. But I digress. I don't want to think about that anymore. How do you think Rask slots in here with Swayman and the $5 million man Linus Allmark?
If he comes back, obviously there's a lot of ifs, but if he comes back and he is Tuukka Rask, that we got used to as Bruins fans over the past, however many years, where I think we're in good shape, and we can send Swayman down to Providence, I think, because he's still on his rookie deal and he doesn't have to clear waivers or anything. So it'd be great. I think it would give us a nice boost. The goalies at the beginning of the season, both Swayman and Allmark, for like a pretty large stretch, were both struggling, and then I think recently they started to pick it up, and I don't know. And then I think they hit another skid, but I think Allmark's had his ups and downs. I think he had it, like I said before the pause. I think he was on a pretty good stretch, but yeah, I think so. I think Allmark and Rask would be a great tandem, and hopefully Allmark can keep settling in and play to the amount we paid him. But he put up great numbers in Buffalo, so you would think he'd be able to translate it to Boston. So I think him and Rask would be a solid tandem moving forward. I hope.
So Allmark and Swayman have essentially identical stats this year. They're both 7-5. Goals against average for Swayman is 2.29. Allmark is 2.52. Swayman total saves 354. Allmark total saves 353. Swayman save percentage 917. Allmark save percentage 922. Is that good?
Those save percentages honestly aren't bad. It's weird. I think we just got so used to having Rask back there that it's not it's not fantastic. It's not Vesna caliber, but it's not awful. That save percentage from both of them it's fine. Yeah, but I just it's no Rask, like he's so solid back there, and just hopefully if Rask can combine with one of them to make a tandem, we should be in better shape.
So do you think Bruce Cassidy, because I don't want to jinx anything, but I think it's a done deal that Tuca's back and the announcement's just a formality at this point. But when Tuca comes back, do you think he's going to be goalie one immediately, or do you think he'll be 1A to an Allmark, like you said?
I think we might just go like the whole way having a 1A 1B, because honestly, like Omar, he's shown it in Buffalo for a while, like a whole. I don't know. He's a good goalie, and Rask was able to do with Halak, just 1A 1B worked well there. So I think we could get a similar thing going with him and Omar. Like Rask didn't really, Rask was all right, just not playing every game. Like he was still good, even if he was playing every other game, or twice, and then letting the other goalie step in. So I think we'll have like a 1A 1B situation as long as Allmark can be solid. I think we'll have no problem just doing 1A 1B.
The second storyline that this author Tim Rosenthal thinks Bruins should look out or keep an eye on is when will the Bruins fulfill Jake DeBrusk's trade request? Because that just feels like eons ago. And obviously, we know DeBrusk. He has 5 goals and 3 assists for 8 points on the year. He's played every game but one, but he wants out. So, do you think Don Sweeney's going to grant his wishes soon? Wait until the deadline? Do you think we can get much for him? I don't think so, but I don't know
It's
much about hockey.
it's a mystery. I don't know. Like, yeah, I think he'll get out of here soon. I hope, because it's clear he doesn't want to be here.
Could
Well,
we just cut him?
no, I don't know. I think we would just lose him. I think someone would be willing to take him. Like, there's definitely a trade that could be made for sure. I'd rather do that than lose him for nothing. I don't know if I think he's got. I don't know. It's weird. He hasn't had it, but you see some games he's flying around the ice and he looks great, and then I don't know. A lot of just the points aren't coming, and yeah, I think a trade will come. It's hard to give him value just because of how inconsistent he is. We've seen him score 27 goals, and then we've seen him score like I don't know, like five. So it's a mystery, and yeah, it's just hard to put a value on him because he's so inconsistent. But I guess recently I was informed of a rumor that there's a player on Winnipeg named Kyler Yamamoto who honestly seems very similar to DeBrusque, just really inconsistent and just a young player. So I've heard his name out there, but he puts up less points per game than DeBrusque, and he had his best season playing with McDavid. And we don't have McDavid on our team, so I don't know how that's gonna go. But yeah, he's a name I've heard out there. I've heard Phil Kessel out there. So
We just have in depth with David, no McDavid, in depth with David.
Sadly not.
Phil Kessel, though, wow.
Yeah, I've heard. I wouldn't be
turning back the clock to
closed.
08.
Yeah, I mean he's getting older. I don't know. It's tough. Just DeBrusque's so inconsistent. I would love. I don't know if he started putting up a little more points. Maybe he gets a little more value. We could. I don't know. I've heard a bunch of names. I heard. I don't know if it's Dylan or Ryan. Dylan Strome or Ryan Strome. On the Rangers. He has a brother, and I always forget which one's which. But a center on the Rangers. I've heard his name out there because we could use a center, obviously, on that second line. And I don't know. It's a mystery, but I think we'll get a deal done sooner than later.
So I'm reading right here. It says DeBrusque and the coaching staff have tension because Bruce Cassidy kind of is tough on Jake because he doesn't score much. Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like Jake's been in the doghouse. I don't know. Like, Southie scratched. He's moving around the lines. Like, I don't know. I don't know I think it's a mixture of, it's not all on. I don't know. It's just a weird situation with him. I don't know. Some of it, I guess, you could say would be on the coaches, and a lot of it would just fall on DeBrusque. But I don't know. It's just inconsistent. He had so much potential and just kind of squandered it. Whether it be him or the coaching staff or whoever, it's just tough to watch. And he's not the only young talent that didn't pan out too. The other two people he was drafted with in that 2015 draft, they didn't pan out too well either.
Zaboral and Senyshyn?
Yeah, Senyshyn. I think he just requested a trade too, which I don't know. He wasn't really playing.
Yeah, I was watching ESPN for some reason last night. They have the bottom line that shows you all the scores and stats from every game going on in the world. And I saw the Islanders playing, and I see Barzal scored a goal. And that was just a tough reminder of what could have been.
That. We would be set. We would be set for 10 years. Just if he took it's sickening.
He's been haunting my dreams for 6 months. What can I say? That's why I didn't podcast at all, because I couldn't bring myself to think about it anymore. But we'll see what happens with Jake DeBrusque. I mean, he's been pretty professional about it. I can respect that.
I don't like the people were booing him like I didn't like that. I mean, I don't know, but he's been. I think he's still trying as hard as he was before he requested a trade. It's just.
If Pasta requested a trade, yeah, boo him. Throw Pasta on the ice.
Throw some meatballs on the ice.
Hopefully 10 years down the line and not just jinx it and we just see Pasta request a trade. But, anyways, enough of that bad mojo. So the third storyline that is brought up in this article is what will Don Sweeney do at the trade deadline? Because once again, it seems like we need a top 6 upgrade between now and almost 3 months from now, March 21st, the NHL trade deadline. So what do you think is going to happen here? I mean, there's still plenty of time. Rumors are flying. It's talking about maybe Thomas Hertl and Dylan Strome in Chicago being available. Maybe packaging DeBrusque with picks to try and make something happen. What do you think is going to happen? Because I think the Bruins, I think they'll make a move because I don't know if every team is like this in hockey, but consistently every year, I always see a notification that the Bruins at least make a trade at the deadline.
There's something, yeah.
Right, there's something. So I would bet on Sweeney making a move, but do you think it's going to be a move to try and tilt things, kind of like he tried to do last year in the Hall trade? Do you think we're going to see something like that again this year?
I don't know. It's a good question, but if Hertl is one of my favorite players just in the whole league, and that would be awesome to see him on Boston. Like I was speculating that too. Like he'd make a great second line center with that line, and I think it'd be awesome. But I don't know how we get the assets to pull that off. I think the Sharks are having a decent enough year right now where they maybe would be more hesitant about trading someone like that. Like if they were like, bottom feeders and they were just absolutely tanking, I think they would sell him like without thinking twice. But he is a rock there, so I think it's going to be hard to make something like that happen. But he is one of my favorite players, and I'd love to see him on the Bruins. But
Me
yeah, I don't
too.
know. Yeah, ideally you'd like to see Sweeney, do something. Yeah, I mean, ideally a second line center, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. And also, losing the Olympics is tough because Pasternak and Hurdle, would both be suiting up for Czech Republic, and you never know. Maybe they have some chemistry over there. Maybe they get to talking, but NHL players are out, so we don't get to see that sadly.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Hurdle. That's what they called
Yes.
him. And I don't know many players outside of the Bruins that play in the NHL, but I do remember Thomas Hurdle because I think it was his rookie season way back in like 13. He scored a goal like in between the legs on someone. Like he did that move. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it right now because I can't. But he did that thing that you do in NHL where you put it between the legs and then like you go behind the leg and flick it up. Like when I saw that, I mean, now, like, 20-year-old me was thinking, oh boy, like that was like a 7-2 game at that point. That's a little bit of a showboat. But when I saw that at like 14, 13, I'm like, holy cow, this is incredible. How'd he do that?
I think he had a 4-goal game that game too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just, and he doesn't put up like insane numbers like that. He's not going to score like 4 goals every game, but he is another guy he's responsible on both ends. I think he kills penalties in San Jose. He's a big body. I mean, he was an all-star last year or 2 years ago, I want to say. He's a consistent goal scorer, and I mean, it'd be awesome to have a guy like that, but I just don't know if we can make it happen.
Would the Bruins be willing to trade someone else? I'm looking at this article. I see Jack Stanika. Do you think we could see him in a trade package?
Yeah, I mean, he was a big story coming into the season. Apparently, he put on like 15 pounds of weight. Like he was practicing, like he looked great in training camp or whatever. And I think like there's expectations he would be on the second line playing center, which I mean, if he was and he was playing well, that'd be great. But obviously, that hasn't happened. I don't know. Maybe I think he's played maybe, I don't know, 4 games maximum. I'm not sure on that. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't see why we wouldn't consider trading him because I mean, he was so hyped up coming into the season. He hasn't really done much. So that's another guy. I don't know what his value would be. Probably not much, but if somehow he could flip that man into Thomas Hurdle, that'd be fantastic.
And the final storyline to look out for, and this is probably going to be the biggest one. This is going to make or break the Bruins season. This is really going to determine how we do. What the heck is the revised schedule going to look like? Because as we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, we have, I think, 5 or 6 more games to make up. We were already scheduled to play our final 32 games of the season in a 64-day stretch. That's going to be like 38 and 80 days. How are we going to do this?
I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be so jammed, and that's a time. Yeah, like that's heading down the stretch, the last month or 2 months, whatever of the season. I mean, everyone's gonna be banged up, and we're just not gonna get a rest. I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know. I don't know when they're gonna squeeze those games in that we just missed. I guess the Olympic break, but it's
So, I mean, it would have been nice as much as many breaks as the Bruins have had this year. You know, you would have liked that 3 week break and then you just blitz into the rest of the season. You know, that would have been nice because when the initial announcement came out, we're not going to the Olympics. I for a split second was like, oh, this will be nice. Like this aging core is going to have a little bit of a break, but then I realized, oh shoot, I know what's coming after this. They're just going to use that time to make up the games, and
yeah.
that's
And
what
then
happened.
they were, I don't know, if they were going to the Olympics, a lot of the team would have a break at least. Like a lot of guys aren't gonna be going, but now no one gets a break. I wish they were going to the Olympics. That would have been so fun to watch. But
Yeah, no, I wish. I mean, we get it. I get it. You know, it's just
it had to
crazy
be done,
times in
I
the
guess.
world,
But
right? But I I don't know how this team is going to pull it off. I hate to say it. Like I'm rooting for the Bruins. I hope we get it done, but I really do think And a regular year, it would have been tough for this team to pull it off just based on the teams I see in front of us, like the Tampa Bays of the world, Carolinas, Florida's having a great season, the Capitals. I
Yeah.
mean, and a regular season would have been tough to pull off, but this schedule just makes it like 10 times more harder because, everyone's saying like, oh, it's just a schedule. Like every team plays 82 games. Like those people that were sitting in front of us at that Bruins game, that's what they're saying right now. But no, I don't see how they do it with a core where so many people are getting closer to last legs or on their last leg. It's a lot of 33 and up players, but we'll see. I mean, this will probably, if the Bruins can pull this off, I will say that this is maybe the toughest earned championship in Boston in the last 20 years, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
Let's see. Even getting into the playoffs is a question right now. I mean, I think we'll do it, but I don't think we're in the playoffs like right now as we speak. But I think
11th.
Detroit. Yeah, I think Detroit's ahead of us right now. I think we're gonna pass them at some point. I think that's just a matter of time. But I mean, I think we'll squeak in, but I don't know if we'll do much once we're there.
Yeah, hopefully we can just keep up the trend of winning one round and then getting eliminated. So make it 5 straight years.
I mean, I
It's
don't know.
something.
I'll have a fun time watching that one round. It'll be awesome. It's a fun time, but
Fun time recapping it.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else. I don't know where we go from here. I mean, it's nice having a break, I guess, but it's also scary because are people? I'm assuming people are eligible to come out of COVID protocols, right? Soon.
Yeah, I think we'll be good. And I don't know. It's tough having this break. I'd like to watch some hockey while I'm away from school, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I don't know. It shut down the whole like the World Juniors tournament, which goes on every year, and that's important for like seeing how prospects are and stuff. And we had one kid. We only had one like prospect that was playing in the tournament, but he's supposed to be like. It looks like he's gonna be really good someday, so that's good. Fabian Lysell of Sweden. Keep your eyes on him.
I'll make sure to I'll etch it in my brain.
One day he's
Fabian,
gonna be
that's a cool
dishing the
name.
puck to pasta, and we're
Oh,
gonna be eating pasta and Fabian. I don't know, but
fabulous Fabian.
there it is, Davey. You always need one of those for every player. We got it.
Oh gosh, if we ever see the Bruins players come out of the parking garage and I just scream pastas on the menu, yeah, I wonder how we'd react to that. But you know,
Let's
we'll
see.
we'll see. It's even if the season doesn't go as planned, every year you expect the score to at least compete for a cup and come close. We've won the cup once, came close 2 other times, and we'll just see how this year goes because it seems like management. I know they said it over the summer right after we lost. This is basically in turn. If we're going to use the equivalent to Michael Jordan's last dance, this is like the last dance with the Bruins. It seems like
Yeah, I would agree. It's tough to say. I don't know.
it's
I don't know. There are games before the break. Like there's a bunch of games in a row where you're just outplaying the opponent like easily. If you have way more shots and we just lose, which if we start winning more of those, we're going to be in better shape. But I don't know. We can't count. You can't count the Bruins out. The old guys, they're old, but they're still showing up. We just can't count them out yet. But it's getting a little too close for comfort at this point.
so. If you had to predict how the rest of the season is going to go, what would you say?
I think we're gonna maybe at some point just go on a run that maybe you know gets us solidly into a playoff position, and then maybe from there on out maybe we won't do so great. We'll just go like 50-50 or whatever, and then I think we'll get in the playoffs. In one of the bottom two spots, but seventh or eighth seed. But I think we'll do it. So yeah, that's my prediction. Hopefully, Pasta picks it up. He needs to pick it up a little more. Put in a few more goals. He's on my fantasy team.
He's
Needs a
got to
little
get,
boost.
yeah, he's got to get that the rock. What is it? The
Rocket Richard. Yeah, I mean,
Rocket
he split
Richard.
it with Ovi not I don't know 2 years ago or something. He's got the talent. You look at some of the names in front of him on goal scoring. It's people like you would never expect, and it's just I don't know. He's just gonna start putting it in a little more. Recently, I think it was they played the Rangers like around Thanksgiving, and there was a graphic, and it was like just showed like the whole league who has the most shots, and Pasta was like top 3, I think, in just most shots. So if he keeps shooting some of those, more of those start going in, it's gonna be getting better. So we'll see. But yeah, he's just gonna pick it up a little.
We have a comment from a good friend of both of ours.
Oh wow,
He sauced me in fantasy. Well,
Hey, you did beat me. You beat me in fantasy, I believe.
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
I'm a disgrace to our fantasy hockey league this year. I apologize. I gotta check it more, but
You took down first place, so I don't know how
somehow,
that
wow.
happened. But yeah, I don't
No,
know.
yeah.
Carter really just came in here
He
and
just came in
just
here and
chirped Davey himself, the
you want to
man.
get into Donnybrook? I'm just
This
kidding.
is In Depth with David. It's your podcast. He just came in here and disrespected you. It's
I'll have some things to say to him when I see him in school. No, follow him. I've taken harsh L's, but I've taken harsh L's, but I managed to get by. Well, look, I've taken multiple L's, but we do with these L's. It's one L goes like this, one L goes like
oh,
that,
here it comes.
and then you make a W. So I take wins. Real quick though, I think the first line's going to continue to do their thing, and it's going to be enough to get us in the playoffs. I don't expect much production, unfortunately, from the other lines to finish off the year. But yeah, I think we're looking at maybe bowing out after 1 or 2 rounds again, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we will see the beginning of the end where I think I can see Bergeron sticking around. Marchand, like they'll keep the first line intact for a bit, but you'll probably see players like Rask. I think this is Rask's final go at it. You'll just see it'll be the beginning of the end. I think.
Yeah, I mean, as great as Bergeron's been, it obviously can't last forever. Although, I think he does play a pretty like sustainable like way, like. But yeah, I mean, it just can't last forever. So we're gonna start seeing the decline. Hopefully, McAvoy doesn't get another concussion. That would be awful. That man, like
Right.
we could see an early end to his career if anything like that happened. God, I shouldn't have said that.
No.
But it's true. I mean, I don't know. It's coming to an end. It has to at some point, but I don't know.
We are a solid team, Carter.
Yeah, we're a solid team. We're fantastic. We're gonna win the cup.
We're all gonna go to the
first,
parade.
Carter. Yep, we're going all to the parade. We're gonna pick up everyone we want at the deadline. Second line's gonna put up more points than the first line, and we're gonna win the cup.
And my sources are telling me that when we go to the parade, we're gonna do a live episode of In Depth with David at the parade. So
we'll be on a float.
We'll be on Pasta's duck boat.
Yes. We'll be sharing a nice big bowl of pasta with burgers on the side while we podcast.
I would faint. Spoken into existence. Alrighty, everyone. That is going to do it for this episode of In Depth with David. If you like this episode, hit the like button. Absorb the like button. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to hopefully do more recaps. Yes, live episode, Carter. You got to look forward to that. Follow Carter Bish Shorts. Follow Carter Bish. Subscribe to both of those accounts on YouTube. He makes great content. We're hoping to make more Bruins, Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots content. Maybe vlogs, maybe personal interviews. We'll see. But I don't know how consistent I'll be on this just because, we're all busy with school. But I like to post on this from time to time. And Brian, once again, it's always a pleasure catching up with you, talking about the Bruins.
Absolutely. It was overdue, David. We had a good chat. Hopefully we can do it again. Hopefully we'll be doing this in the spring, like you said. Playoff time.
Come playoffs. Alrighty, everyone. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. See ya.